How's everyone doing? I see Todd's joining. Sean just joined. And there you go. For those of you who are on just on the chat, it looks like you found the chat string. So keep posting in there. All right.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. My camera's froze.
It's working on this end.
Yeah.
Okay. There we go. Hey. Ben, clean and respectable. Oh, my.
Yeah, you know, it has to happen sooner or later. So I don't know how many of you saw the agenda, or how I know a lot of you have already been to a lot of these meetings, so you know that the agenda is really a loose thing anyways. But we do have a few things that we can get started with on the call, including, let's see, wait a second. Did I update the wrong agenda? I might have. Yeah, there's a few things on the agenda that I'm not going to really talk about too much. We can just talk about them a little bit. There's a labs release, a firmware update that many of you probably already have, but you should just be aware of. Kyle is going to join us, if he hasn't, as an iOS developer, to talk about some things that are going on that front. And then anything else you guys want to talk about? I don't I see Ermin yet? Kyle's on. All right, well, we'll wait for Ermin. Maybe he's just waking up.
I think he just went to the bar. He's getting headphones.
Oh, he's going to work from the Bulldog?
Yep.
All right. He loves that. All right. Well, I know that I talked about this in one of the developer office hours, but I thought I'd do a rolling soft announcement of our status page. If any of you guys haven't seen it yet, you can go to status.smartthings.com, see a snapshot of the platform performance, anything that's up or down at any given time, and then look at past incidents. Todd, you'll notice that that there are times associated with things now, so you can kind of tell like where things happen. And that'll roll, we'll show like a week of events and or non-events hopefully, and it'll roll off and you can see the past ones.
Nice.
So that's always good. You can subscribe to that there, and you can subscribe to individual items as well. If in case you're not interested in getting alerts for everything, you can get alerts for certain things. But yeah, that is up. We'll probably announce that more broadly soon. We just have been sort of testing it out. Excuse me just 1 second. I'm going to look at another agenda that I had prepared that wasn't quite the same as this. Yeah, but it's about the same. I'm just not going to really talk about the way that we handle deployments. That was already talked about a couple weeks ago, and it's not that interesting anyways. I'm going to switch up a few of the things so Ermin can join, but then I'd also, unless he's already on, I'd also like to ask you guys, what do you want to hear about during this call that isn't on here, or what do you want to talk about? And I can make sure that we try to touch on that.
Build site migration.
That's on there. It's second to last agenda item. So
I kind of want to talk about your haircut.
Oh, Berman's on.
Is that actually like a flame or a Z cut in the side, like a lightning bolt, or is that real?
Yeah, a little lightning bolt. No, come on. Yeah.
Nice.
All right. So Jeff and Brian both want to talk about build forums, so that's good. We will talk about that. I'm assuming you guys just are like you want to keep what we've got and it's perfect. So we'll just go. Just kidding. All right. Well, did Ermin join with you down there?
What's up?
There
he's here. He's here.
He is. Are you prepared to talk about some of the labs release stuff, or do you want me to?
We did that last week. 2 weeks ago,
labs
even.
Release stuff that's happening tomorrow. It's a preview.
No.
All right, I'll do it.
But
What?
no, go for it. Go for it.
Basically, I think some of you already have access to this too, but we're releasing some more Sonos and Hue control stuff in labs. We're planning that tomorrow. I'm hopeful that it will still go out tomorrow. These include things like Hue mood lighting, notify me with Hue, so like you can connect it to and do color-based things based on a variety of events. Sonos control with mood music, notify with sound, and Sonos weather forecast, and then an improved version of Sonos Connect. So a lot of like a lot more work, just kind of polishing up the rough edges on the Sonos and Hue integrations, and that's due out this week. Trying to keep up.
Ben.
Yeah.
I totally forgot to send Brian a NetAtmo. Can we send him one?
A NetAtmo?
Yeah, I totally forgot to do it.
I will have to put that on my list here. Sorry about that. I'll do that.
I was wondering.
Yeah, sorry, dude.
That's fine.
It's actually you can do it without you can mostly do it right now without having the device in hand. The API is super straightforward. If you take a look at it, I think you'll be able to, finish it before you even get the device. But we're gonna send you one anyway.
Okay.
All right.
I can actually give you the credentials to the one in our office.
Well, I'll look more at it. Get going on it.
Brian, for everybody, is on our core team. Core team.
I've been meaning to talk about or introduce the concept of the core team as well on one of these, but I'm just not like we've been very lax with like rigor around what it means and whatever. But we have invited some folks who have already shown interest in developing devices and smart apps to join like a small circle of developers, and if they're interested in doing something like NetAtmo integration or Withing scale integration, whatever else, we'll send them devices and they can have at it. It's been really great so far, Todd.
Go ahead. Yeah, sorry, Ben. The reason everyone's seen the reason Quirky and TCP Bowl are because of Todd Wackford, and he's on the core team.
Yeah, so
isn't that right, Todd? Core team.
Folks have been working on stuff, including Todd and some others, and so if you're interested, we're looking at expanding the core team as well at some point in the future. Who's logged in as open platform? Is that you, Kyle?
No.
That's me. Let me log out.
Oh, okay. Anyways, we wanted to talk about that. I wanted to talk about the firmware update that's coming. I don't know also if Ermin is ready to talk about that, or if Berman, you want to handle that, but we are rolling out updates on hub firmware to handle a number of these new use cases and to improve some things. I can read some things, but if one of you guys wants to actually say things about this, you can.
Yeah, I can talk about it. So we have a new main update for the hub and a Zigbee update for the hub. The main one makes LAN stuff work 1,000 times better, has some Z-Wave improvements, some Zigbee improvements. Should just make LAN connected devices work like exponentially better than it has in the past. If you're not on it already, like some people have got it pushed to them if they're on the core team. Some people are probably waiting, but it's going out for mass consumption here. And then there's an update to Zigbee, which adds a lot of functionality for some of the new devices that are coming out that we support in Zigbee, and should be a lot more flexible, like adding devices in general.
Cool. There's also a golden firmware or whatever that's going to be rolled out, right? In case so we can always roll back to that. Is that okay? Is that the idea?
Yeah. The gold image is kind of a concept of like a backup. So if there is a problem with your hub updating, it will revert to the gold. And this gold image, we're updating to a newer version, so you're not going from like something kind of up to date way back in time to something that's like not out of date or like just old in general. Yeah, Todd, I agree with the core team rock. So
right.
we're updating the gold image as your revert image to something that's like has less impact. And I think some people have seen some issues with reverting to gold, and like some features don't exist anymore. Like you're on land and then you don't have land anymore. So it should just be a smoother transition in general for like all around the board.
Cool. All right. Is Ermin on again? So there was a question about the labs stuff for Hugh from Ives. If it'll have to reinstall what he currently has installed, will he?
First of all, it's Eves.
Oh,
Please get
I'm
it
the
right.
worst.
Second of all, I didn't hear the question.
He posted it, but it's basically, does it update what's already there for Hugh, or do you have to reinstall?
Oh, that is a good question.
Like, will you have to take away?
I understand. I get. Ben, I know the question. Let me find the answer.
All right, moving on. Kyle, while he's looking for that, you want to talk a little bit about what's happening on the iOS side?
Yeah, so the iOS side is we're changing for the next version. So we're working on basically a Plus Discover. We're calling it Plus. It's a unified dashboard and things and apps experience. So the 3 left items in the menu on the left hand side will go away and condense into one dashboard view. So things will live alongside other dashboard items. Along with apps will be broken up into their individual categories, which is this is to help just break things out and show we're seeing in analytics, a lot of people are just staying in things, and we kind of want to move people into the dashboard. The solution modules that we still have will still exist. When you tap on a module, it'll actually bring you to basically a detail screen that shows you kind of modules as they look today. So they have recently, or right now and recently, and shortcut tiles. The other big thing, so Plus is really behind. When you tap on the Plus, it's actually kind of like a new Explore experience where you go in, you discover things or alerts or actions, or you basically are searching categories or a tree of data that exists for devices or smart apps, which allows users to better discover what devices are going to be supported on the platform, as well as what use cases they can install today and get started. We're going to start providing the experience that they can connect new devices as they have them, or if they're just getting a kit for the brand new time, they can just start pulling all their devices at all their pull to tab pairs and start connecting right away. Pretty exciting. This is one of the big features that I've been looking for, as far as I'm in a hardware store and see Z-Wave on the shelf, and I want to know if it's supported. So this will be a good experience for users to see what's supported, what they can go buy. As far as core team stuff, we have, we're working in the ability to publish things. So some of our marketplace stuff that we've talked about will be able to publish into this tree of data, and a lot of these things will be available for end users right from the same experience. So.
All right. There's been a few questions, Kyle, as you've been talking, mostly around iPad support, even the lightweight iPad support that would make it landscape view or something. Has there been any discussions on the team about trying to do anything at all with that?
Yeah, internally there's been some stuff. So iOS team, I've been starting to take a lot of the model and API interactions that we're doing with the SmartThings cloud and try to abstract that to basically a sort of like a client library that we could create other applications with. We've actually started creating just a very, very light proof of concept, like can you log in, can you get locations, for seeing what it would look like on an iPad. There are some other projects that we have going on in mobile that have kind of been helping design and flush out what a tablet experience might look like. But we're kind of on the right track we've been doing a lot of refactoring in the iOS application to streamline portability of our code to other platforms, not just iPad, but hopefully maybe even a Mac application. So.
All right, cool. Thanks for that. Anyone have any follow-on questions for Kyle. Or Ermin, has that song ended and you can talk to the other question?
It's a whole other song, and it's just as bad. Listen to that. Oh, it's so bad. Yeah. Anyway, the answer is no. You do not have to reinstall your smart apps.
All right. Cool. All right. What else we got? The only thing other thing I've got on the schedule agenda is the build site migration update, and I also claimed there would be an invitation in the agenda. I do want to offer people the chance to like kind of come and help us test a potential replacement for what's currently at build.smartthings.com. I'll paste that in right there. You're welcome to go into that and post your feedback, questions, and whatnot. There's actually a topic set up for feedback as well.
You pick a platform yet, Ben?
It's a community thing. So there's a couple posts there. Doug, are you asking Kyle why he's not in the meeting room, which is the Bulldog?
Yeah, it's a nice meeting room.
Nice.
Yeah, look at the backdrop.
It is pretty nice. Feel free to talk about anything that you see or don't see on the community site. Keep in mind that there's a number of rough edges. A lot of those rough edges are enumerated in another post in the meta discussion there. The idea for the new community site would be that it's inclusive of both developers and like sort of just enthusiastic users who want to give us feedback, post questions, things like that. Not quite as developer centric as build has been, but I mean still a lot of a lot of maker and developer discussions, the sharing of code and whatnot, and projects. Although projects will probably be shared in a different way, in a way that you're kind of creating a topic for your project instead of a dedicated project blog, as in build. But I'd encourage you to check it out. Paste a GitHub link in there and see what happens. It's pretty cool. Yeah, check it out. A lot of things still have to happen before we're ready to like launch it for sure. But I'd be interested in your feedback.
Ben, there's a question for you in the comment
There's
thread.
a couple of them, but Dave says do we have to re-register?
I think the comment is, have you picked a platform yet?
Hey, Ermin, quiet. The need to re-register, I think just for now, re-register for this beta. We'll probably wipe it when we go to launch it again, and we have been in talks with the Discourse people to make a migration happen. They're not super excited about it, but if we like offer to like sign up for a year and do whatever else, they're going to do it. Our goal is to migrate both users and content over. Not 100% going to promise that all the content will move over, but it is a goal. We may do it in just maybe it's like a whole separate category or topic that's sort of like an archive, so it doesn't like kind of pollute the rest of it. But we'll see what we can do there. The other thing is we do want to get single sign-on in place so that people can be logged in to SmartThings wherever they go, whether it's the IDE, this site, the shop, etc. That might like make it harder to like migrate some users. So there's still a bit of like discussion that has to happen, which Eves is kind of talking about in the chat right now. Single sign-on plus migration might be really hard. Whereas if we say, let's just cut over and make single sign-on happen and everyone just has to sign up again, that might be one answer. I haven't had a chance to look at what Jeff is linking to. But I can. So is it a garage door question? Okay.
Are you talking about the MyQ stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, so the MyCube stuff is tricky. So we can't do anything without their express permission, and they don't have an open API. So you'd be surprised on how much regulation is around garage doors. There's a massive liability of the garage door not stopping. So they've been knowing, like, understandably unwilling to completely open up their API. I mean, we're working on it, we're talking to them, but there's no guarantee it's going to happen anytime soon. And we definitely would not be using an unofficial API for it, unfortunately.
All right. So not to like just close off the build topic, but if there are questions about that, please let me know. And now we're kind of open to other questions that people are having, other devices that people want to see. We can kind of take a lot of stuff like that.
Ben,
you got
a
something,
question.
Berman? Okay, hold
Yeah.
on. I got Brian posting about presence issues.
All right, I can wait.
He says he's not been near his home and has had several false arrivals from the phone. And are you using, Brian, the geo presence from the phone or a presence tag? Phone. Okay.
I've been seeing that too.
You've seen it?
iOS or Android?
Just in a specific time?
Last few days.
All right. Brian,
Android.
iOS and Android, so both. Interesting.
Is it just when you start up your app the first time, like it's closed and you're just opening it, or is it just persistently running?
In my case, it doesn't change my presence unless I open the app on one of my devices. The other device works all right sometimes.
I mean, that would be expected. The app has to be running for it to report presence, but
Android.
On Android. Not always. I mean, like Doug, a lot of times mine's been fairly regular now, but when I used to not get good presence events, I could open up anything with like geolocation, like Google Maps app, and it would then trigger my presence event. So it's really anything that turns on the like GPS.
I look weird without a beard.
Weren't you just talking about how the beard was the source of your rage?
It was the source of my rage, but it made me look better.
So Johnny also says that he uses Android and often doesn't change presence unless he opens the app. I'm not as familiar with Android, although I have HTC One next to me here, trying to get used to it. Is there settings in there to like keep apps running in the background like there is in iOS, or?
You shouldn't need to do that for Android. I mean, A, they'll keep running as long as there's memory, but B, you should be able to tie it in separately. I mean, it's probably a better conversation to have with an actual Android developer.
Right, which we'll have on next time. Grab one in here and have for the next discussion. All right. Well, as always, continue to send issues that you see in to support if you can, including sending your log files, which is an option within the app, I believe. There's another quick question from Dave about, Dave dropped off a video, but API documentation status. That's a good question. I was trying to get the documentation writer to come into this meeting today. I told him too slow, and so we're planning on the next meeting to basically have an overview of all the documentation that's happened over the last month and a half, and kind of a launch of that documentation. At that time, the API documentation will be a part of that. If we get it out before that, it'll obviously be messaged on the build forums and whatnot for that. The API documentation has been leading the rest of it because we wanted to get it out sooner rather than later. But we're hoping to do all of that in the next couple of weeks. So total revamp of a lot of our documentation is coming out. Todd's asking about developer docs. Is that the same? Did I semi-answer your question there?
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Johnny, I've actually started to. I took apart a presence tag and put the parts of it in my wallet. It's like totally ruining my wallet, but I wanted to test it, and that was the only way I was going to carry one of these things around. And so I actually am getting really good results with it, but because of the timing of the weird thing is because of like the timing of the calls to that thing, it was still like about the exact same radius as my geofence. So both my phone and my presence tag are both like right on as pretty much the same accuracy. Um, let's see, Kyle's kind of answering questions as we go as well. Sorry. Eric says Z-Wave Zigbee signal strength list for all devices in the smartphone apps. I was trying to remember if we have anything about for signal strength in like the API or like the IDE site, but I'm unsure.
Right.
They're
So
accessible.
it is kind of like the last one you received at some point, though. Like you could have one where it receives very well, and then the next one comes in and it's not that like great, like just depending on what's going on electromagnetically in your house. So it would be nice to make like a composite like over the last 2 minutes, but then I mean you're kind of sacrificing reactivity sometimes. So we need to figure out like a really good metric to put on there, and sometimes it's not going to be like how loud it's transmitting. It might just be like link quality over the last 2 minutes would be maybe a better metric.
Right. And yeah.
That same thing like would be nice in the ID, and then we could bring it to just like how your device is doing. Like I don't know if it's easier to make it to like a like good, bad, non-existent, or if you want to put it in like number wise.
Right. Trying to keep up here on the side. Someone asked about battery drain on the tags. It can be pretty bad. You can set the. I think you can set the like time it checks in from 2 minutes to like I don't know 10 or something. That would definitely
that has no effect on the actual tag though.
No, and no effect on the battery.
Nope. That setting is for the hub.
Okay. Well, yeah. Then
I've seen tags last like a year. I've seen them last I don't know 3 months, and I've seen them last.
I think
8 months.
I think it depends a little bit on the batteries. I also think like sometimes when I buy those coin cells, they're like halfway through their life. Next time I replace one, I'm going to test it with a battery meter and see if I can like get any other data on it.
The other thing that really affects lithium-ion batteries is temperature, and they drop off like crazy. Like regular batteries, not as much. You'll see that if you put like a multi outside and it's on a regular battery, but like a lithium battery will drop off in voltage just dramatically when it gets cold.
Yeah, like even like in the 30s, 40s, and 30s.
Both Dave and Johnny are asking about polling, and specifically seeing polling and changing polling in custom devices. Doug or Ermin, do you want to tackle that? Rock, paper, scissors.
So close. The way polling was invented and meant to be worked was just to keep a device online. So instead of running a function like a lot of us are using it, so instead of going out to update, weather every 5 minutes, it was meant to just be as a health check to see if devices are even on the network or not. That way we can mark them inactive or active as not. So the problem we're running into is there's a lot of logic around poll. So if a device is already talking to the hub a good amount, poll won't run. If a device misses like 2 or 3 polls, and poll will stop completely, just assuming the device is online, so it won't try to poll it anymore. So because of poll has a lot of weird stuff, like for example, if the return of poll does not create an event, then poll won't work either. It'll just stop running. So we're trying to look at ways to schedule events in device handling that won't break the bank like it has been with smart apps. We're looking at maybe a way to not give you a window of something to. I know where you're going. Is there a meow? Who's meowing? Oh, look at Kitty. Anyway, so refresh will not. Refresh could cause poll to start working again. You'd have to do it manually, right? So you can't have a poll call refresh. Well, maybe you could. That might be a good idea. Instead of calling a different function, you could have poll call refresh, as long as the return of whatever is going out is creating an event, even if it's the same event, then poll will continue to run. But that's still not a good long-term answer to what poll should be doing. So we'll look at maybe enabling some sort of cron time functionality in device handlers that won't take down our entire implementation of quartz. And also something where I can get better at rock, paper, scissors, so Berman has to say.
I'll answer Dave's question. Is there an event that fires when device is opened in Things view? No, there is not. You'd have to implement a refresh tile in order to call the poll method.
Is the new iOS up in test flight? There hasn't been a test flight built. Well, there was one late last week. Is that right?
Yeah, there's been very little progress, I guess, on master branch and GitHub. We're mostly just doing a little bug fixes and analytics changes. But as of right now, a lot of our developer effort is focused on all this new plus design and reworking and tweaking. And there has yet to be a test flight build of that yet either. We're hoping.
I heard a rumor that it might be this week.
It might be. Yeah, it depends how it's pretty alpha right now, so maybe be alpha 1.
Hey,
right.
Has everyone voted for us in the Webbies?
Yeah, that was something I was going to bring up. Just vote early and vote often. We're like neck and neck with that computer company. Which, if we're going to lose to someone, I hope it's that Kano Computing, because that's really awesome.
That Raspberry Pi.
Yeah.
You know what I hate is that you can't tell. Is there a way to see like the percentages without having to vote again?
What do you mean?
Like, is there a way to see like the actual who's winning without having to vote again? Every time I go back, I can't see it until I vote again.
Yeah, no, you can refresh the page and it refreshes. Yeah, I just pasted it in there. But I voted from Facebook, Twitter, and Google+.
Cheater.
What? I use the app that much. I'm like 3 people.
Personality-wise, I mean, that haircut has brought on another personality. This is not the Guillermo that I know.
Oh, by the way, Guillermo, Ben, you just got.
Did you finally watch the second episode of Game of Thrones? Herman.
I did watch it. Yes, it's very good.
Hey Ben, I got a question. Ben, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Did you choose a platform yet?
Oh my God.
Bern, you got. If anyone wants to, any problems you have with build, feel free to message Ben directly, as he hasn't chosen a platform yet.
Listen, there's no one who wants to move from the current build site more than me. I manually approve every person that registers on that site. And
then you should message yourself then.
I delete hundreds of spam a day, so yeah.
Can we make a hashtag choose a platform thing? Let's make that trend. Hashtag choose a platform.
So we do have, roughly 25 minutes here, and lest it devolve into something. We're getting some questions. Dave to the rescue with a hardware question. He plans to sell key fob boards without the casing. So you mean the little smart the presence tags? Yeah. Um, we could probably send you some, but we don't have like I don't know if we have plans to do that. We do have plans for a new casing that's much smaller and more
Wait,
sturdy.
you want the presence tag
Presence
without
tag
the casing?
outside of the case, yeah. I mean, we have some refurbed ones we could probably send.
How many do you want?
He wants to embed them in stuff. Um, yeah.
It's actually a neat idea. Could do some cool things with Subaru.
Give me a solid number. How about like 2?
The waterproof part would be harder because then you have to NEMA coat. I don't know if you guys are familiar with how hardware works, but they will put like a plastic coating on the outside, and that doesn't exist on our hardware right now. Like there's a fin, but it's not like a waterproof classified device. So like the NEMA part, different. But you could put that same thing in like a locked enclosure that's got silicone and everything else, but like the actual board itself would have to be NEMA, and the battery, which is way harder.
Are NEMA coats made out of nematodes? I did it.
You're awful.
Hashtag pick a platform.
There was a question about the a security packet, a specific security package that looks like it's sold online. I can tell you that there hasn't been significant progress on integrating with a lot of third-party security packages. The one that you pointed out looks to be wireless, but I'm not sure which protocol it runs on. So there'd be that, but there's still potential for getting into that if it's just Wi-Fi or LAN based, anyways. Let's see, another question from Johnny. IR working. So is there interest in timeline working on the IR, either global cache or Square Connect SQ Blaster? Man, if Danny were here, he could answer some of the IR things. Ermin, do you know anything about the IR stuff apart from Harmony?
There is none.
So we
That
haven't
we're
been
doing right now.
we haven't been advancing anything with IR.
We have not. No.
All right. To your point, Johnny, there has been some people who've made IR blasters with the Arduino Shield and had it working so that you could kind of take over your remote to do things with SmartThings, but nothing that we're moving forward right now. I don't know how much we can really talk about it, but we are in talks with Logitech, and it's more than just talks, with doing some things with integrating with some Logitech devices.
So would you be putting most of your efforts towards the Logitech thing and not towards anything like Global Cache or something?
I can't. Someone's talking, but I can't really hear.
I can hear him. The question was, are we going to be putting our efforts towards the Logitech or other stuff in general? And the answer is we will be putting our efforts more towards the Logitech right now.
And so, I mean, that could be said on a number of fronts. So, we are planning to be the open platform that can support a super wide variety of things. We are sort of aiming our limited resources at those ecosystems that have more user base installed with them. So the Logitechs, the Sonos's, the ones that will basically net us new customers as well. So we're really hoping that for these smaller use cases, the ones that are specific to a few different devices, but maybe more niche, that the community will really step up and do that. And so that's kind of some of the work Todd has done. We haven't announced it yet, but Todd's also integrated a number of quirky devices other than the pivot, like the Porkfolio and a few others, the Egg Minder. And so, I think the niche stuff is going to come from people like you guys making it happen.
Right. Just because we're not focusing our attention on it doesn't mean that it very well doesn't mean that it won't be done. I think that's one of the cooler things about SmartThings is like if another company says they're not going to be doing it, then it's just not happening. But just because we're not making it doesn't mean it can't be made, which I think is pretty clever. Also, Ben has really nice hair.
All right. Discussion about new hub with a USB port. Can you tell us anything about the roadmap for that or timelines? I can speak vaguely that it won't happen in the next quarter, but we are planning on a new hub that's a bit beefier, potentially running an operating system that could support some level of caching or commands on it. And like you alluded to, a USB port that's not used just for power, but for also expansion. So maybe you want to give it like cellular connectivity. Maybe that's a possibility through there, or maybe you want to hook on a Bluetooth dongle or something. Those are the kind of the things that we're looking at doing in that. And we do have basically a full-time person like working only on that, but it's not. I just don't think it's something that like we're going to be ready to like go forward to market with in the next 3 to 5 months. Hopefully this year, but again, I don't want to promise. We learned about promises in Kickstarter.
So are you guys going to build your own device again, or are you going to look at like a Pi or a BeagleBone or?
No,
I think. Go ahead. Herman, you're muted.
unmute.
Pick a microphone. Pick a microphone.
I was trying to click it like 5 times.
So
we will not be using a open source platform like BeagleBone or Arduino. We would very much be building our own device.
There are possibilities of having our hub functionality integrated into third-party devices later. So in the future, I could see it where you buy a Belkin router for your Wi-Fi and it has the capabilities of the Zigbee and Z-Wave radios in there or what have you. But for the next one, I think we're building it. I'm kind of trying to go through these in order. Johnny asked if there's a timeline for the Harmony remotes. Is it weeks, months, or 6 months? I don't have the answer for that. It was progressing very quickly for a while before like the last
just
couple
keeps
weeks.
on going on and off.
Yeah, I don't know why you're doing that.
Now it works. Here we are. It is in the months category, not weeks.
Is it in the months or the 6 months? You're the worst.
Stupid. It's just like hashtag pick a platform already.
Yeah.
It's in the 6 months. 6 months range. It's not.
Eric mentioned Chromecast as a
That's
dashboard.
a cool idea.
Things could pull up Todd's dashboard, and then that was also talked about. Are a few of you running Todd's dashboard right now?
No, it only went out on the YouTube video.
All right. We have to schedule. I meant to do that even last week. Schedule a show and tell for your dashboard. Unless you're ready to like show it now.
You know what's really funny? I have it running on Hyper-V virtual machines. They disappeared from the Hyper-V manager. They're still there. I just need to relink them in.
All right.
I just got to get some time to do it.
Let's plan for the meeting 2 weeks from now.
Okay.
There is a dashboard that's been linked.
It's a much lesser dashboard.
Lesser dashboard, but still.
Where is it?
There. Is that connected to your stuff? Nice.
It should have updated.
It did. I saw it. Very cool.
Oh, I like that.
I aspire to one day add in the ability to actually control things, but it's not there yet.
Something
looks like it's on fire.
The thing up in the top, the Nest, it might be on fire.
The house is not actually burning down.
Oh.
It's set to heat.
Do you have any of those Nest Protects?
No.
I
You guys
have
could
one,
send
but
me
now
another.
I'm so disappointed in it now. I might be sending it back. Maybe I'll just send it to you instead.
Arsonist.
All right. Eric, you were mentioning the vote up system. Are you talking about on the forum a way to vote things up? All right. Yeah. There's some of the options, and they're not quite there yet on this one that we're looking at going with, but they have, best answer and things like that. So you can have kind of categorization around what type of post it is, if it's a poll or if it's a question, or just an idea, and voting those up or down. I think that'd be very cool. I have confidence that these guys will iterate and be getting things going. They almost update it every day from like a new code production push standpoint, but they are taking a different approach to the whole forum space. So we'll see. I'm totally be interested to hear your guys' thoughts on it when we go. Let's see. Do we have any ability to connect things via local LAN yet, or just waiting on documentation? You mean like new LAN connected devices? Yeah, like a thermostat that's a Wi-Fi thermostat. Yeah, I mean, I think that there is some documentation that you guys need to do that. Are there other impediments, Ermin or Berman, to doing that once the documentation is there? No. All right. Dave says the Nest Protect would be a great footprint for the SmartThings hub because it'd just be like sitting there connected, and not take up other space. I agree. Aside from the Ethernet thing, so if we still had Ethernet requirement, that would be obviously tougher. But if it was Wi-Fi connected, that's an interesting concept. I do always think that those things could be a lot smarter. I have the First Alert Z-Wave connected smoke alarm as well as the Nest Protect, and now I like the Z-Wave one better, plus the price point. What is going on? Now people are talking about Edgar Allan Poe.
Sorry, this is an Ethernet standard that puts the power over Ethernet, so you don't need to have a USB thing to power it. It's just, I think the problem in my mind is I don't think we can rely on this to globally distribute something. If we did, we'd have to put like another dongle that would add PoE to anything else, which I think, like TP-Link and some of the other things have like a little piece of hardware that goes in between. So you plug Ethernet into it on both sides, and you plug power in. So you'd have to provide both. So it's kind of an interesting idea, right? Like what's mentioned here in the side story. But do we want to make that side piece, or do you just want to power over USB? It's just kind of a strange place to be, since not that many people have PoE Ethernet.
Although you could have two plug-in options.
Yeah.
Right, but two connectors also makes things more expensive. So it's like a numbers game in the end. If PoE makes the most sense, or if it's less common. A lot of people I have PoE in my house, but I'm probably not the normal user. My mom and dad don't have PoE. My grandma doesn't have PoE. My cousins don't have PoE.
And most people don't have Ethernet in their ceiling.
Yeah, that is.
Seriously, what this thing is making me mad right now. But I have a question. How do you guys like blue jeans versus
what?
Yeah, you broke out.
Sorry, I keep on going on mute just randomly, and the spacebar trick isn't working. How do you guys like this Blue Jeans meeting software versus our old way of Google Hangouts?
It's basically the same, though you can have more than 10 people in chat.
Yeah. And soon we'll be able to have more than 25, although that hasn't been we've flirted with like 22 before, but hasn't been a thing for these meetings yet. Nice. Now we have to have shirts. That's a core team.
I like it.
All right. What else?
I was wanted to pose a question to the other developers or users here.
Okay.
I was taking a look at the TCP implementation that we put into labs last week. I was just curious if anybody likes to see how much power usage a light bulb is using, because that was one of the capabilities that TCP has. Is that something people would go ahead?
If it can be done, it should be done.
Well, it is done now. I just wondered if really anybody would use it. I've already completed it.
I don't have it, but if I did have it, I would look at it.
You want to see it? Anybody want to see it?
Sure, why not?
All right. Let's see. Share screen. Share my screen.
Whoa.
There we go. See it?
Yeah.
So now when you toggle up, you should see the wattage being used. Yep, it updates a couple seconds after that. Is that just like gimmicky to people, or do they really take a look at it and does it add value?
I think it adds value in aggregate as well. I mean, this individual view isn't going to be something, but if you could do an aggregate view, I think that is important and something that's going to be interesting for this whole space in the future.
I think it adds value because maybe you would actually not set yourself to a higher level if you realize the wattage difference. Like just in general, adds value like based on decisions. Probably something you're not going to like think of after the first few times you've done it, but maybe you're not going to set your lights as bright in your house or whatever.
Well, I mean, compared to a 60-watt bulb going down to LED at a max of 11, and now I'm down to like at 59%, you see what the wattage is. You can really see the savings over the LED at half and also over what your normal fluorescence.
Right. I mean, I totally agree. I think it's awesome.
Okay. So I'll go ahead and push that up to you guys and see if you want to implement it on the next round of lab updates.
All right.
Oh, somebody earlier asked about an official Nest integration. We can't do that right now because it's an unofficial API versus an official API, and Nest doesn't like it when you do that sort of thing. So you'll still have to use my device type. SmartThings can't give you one.
Yeah, that is true. All right. Following up and seeing what else we've got.
At one point, the energy tracking, some of those switches can track energy.
Yeah. A few of them still can or can again now. Anyone that was called the smart power outlet, those are both those can both use metering. The originals can now, the bigger ones that we sent out with the Kickstarter kits, and then there's the new ones that we sell in the shop now that are smaller form factor. They're a little bit more square. I believe that metering is in place for both of those.
No.
What?
Yeah, so the smaller ones, the ones we saw now, made by Centralite, if you have the newest firmware, those do metering, and they only do current power. The older ones have not been fully done, like gone through QA yet, so they're not in production. And they would also be reliant on newer firmware, which we're looking to push out next week to everybody globally.
Yep. All right. So next week, firmware should be able to allow those to happen. There's also a few other ones. I think doesn't the Aeon, the white one that's like sort of like the longer one, that one has metering in it?
Yeah, that one has metering in it.
And how about the black the outdoor one from GE?
That one does not have metering in it.
All right.
How do you get at that data? Is it possible?
At the metering data, how do you get it in which sense?
Like not through the app.
Any sense?
I don't get the question.
Well, maybe he wants to get it into that new dashboard.
Are you trying to get the data from the device itself or from the platform?
I assume the platform would get the data from the device. I would like to get the data from the platform.
Ah, okay, cool. So this device.power. I'll do it.
All right.
All right.
Guess mine doesn't have it.
Very cool. Sean, you've been a bit quiet. You got any questions over there? Nope. Eric's talking about Fibaro.
Hold on. What's the question about Fibaro?
Well, there wasn't really a question about it. Just has some metering on it, but then Eric was like teasing us with speaking of Fibaro.
Yeah.
Okay,
the reason
so the
I
only thing
brought
from
that,
sorry.
as far as Fibaro, I got an email from them. They're coming to the U.S. They're selling product in 3 to 4 weeks. You can pre-order now. They're coming with a limited set of their things, but their stuff is appealing.
So currently we have the contact sensor, the Fibaro contact sensor, and the Fibaro water sensor integrated. And that's the only devices we got from them. So that might be the only thing from release. But if you grab it, they will pair as a general Z-Wave contact sensor and a general Z-Wave water sensor. The devices themselves come with a whole slew of extra features, which we're working on. It's actually core team's working on it. Core team. To get all the extra features out of those singular devices, but so far the contact sensor and the water sensor are all integrated, and they look gorgeous. By the way, they're really good looking devices.
Yeah, the smoke detector looks cool too. Right. So Jeff, that motion sensor on Monoprice is the Fibaro one?
No, those are different devices.
Okay, that's what I was asking.
No, the one on Monoprice, we actually ordered a bunch of them, but we haven't gotten them yet because they're really out of stock. But we have some reports of them working. But then I just saw a build ready today of someone having problems with it.
All right. All right. What else? Anyone got a parting shot?
What is it? I had one question I was trying to remember. What platform will the build site be on? Yeah, I think, that's it.
Bastard.
Hashtag pick a platform.
Yep.
Everyone tweet at Ben.
No. It's not just a matter of picking it, but
everyone follow me because I tweeted at Ben.
Whenever whatever we pick, then someone's going to be unhappy. So there you go. But I guess that's
whatever you pick. You could pick the bulletin and be better what we have now.
All right, that's what I was going to say. At least it'd be better. All right. Well, with that, I guess we can start to wrap. If you guys do have questions or feedback and want to hear about something else on the next office hours, just let me know or post it in the comments on the blog post, and we can make sure to incorporate it into the agenda.
I want to take a minute and thank you, Ben, and thanks to SmartThings for highlighting me in their developer blog. I really appreciate that. That was nice. Good job.
Hey, it was it's cool to like see you there working away in your garage. Yeah, it's been great just to see all the stuff that you're able to create and get integrated. So actually, the thanks is for you.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Well, thanks everyone for coming, and have a great rest of the week.
Take care.
Yeah.
What's up, guys? Want to just hang out? You know, we're not leaving. We're at our go-to bar. You guys want to see? Hey, Johnny, you're the only one left. You want to see our bar? Yeah, you're on mute, bro. By the way. You know, that's Angela over there. Angela, say what's up. Oh, it's final countdown. This looks sweet, right? All right, well, man. See you 2 weeks.
Are you guys
What's
both
up?
from Minneapolis?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm
Are
also
you here or what?
I'm in Minneapolis. I'm not there.
You're in Minneapolis?
Yeah.
Well, why don't you come to Bulldog right now? Come to Bulldog Northeast.
How long are you guys gonna be there?
How long will it take you to get here?
I live in South Minneapolis. I could probably be there in 10 minutes.
Cool. We'll be here.
Okay. I'll stop by.
Yeah. All right. See you
See
here.
you then. Bye.
Later.